Hello everybody and welcome back to another CTF walkthrough. This time it's going to be a little different. Today we're going to be attacking SoupeDecode, SoupeDecode. To be honest, I don't know what this title is, but this is what we're going to be doing. The only caveat here is I'm going to be doing this machine completely blind, and I've never done that for a video before. So I don't have the user flag, I don't have the root flag, I don't know what this machine's about other than the description here. So I'm just gonna go into it blind and see what happens. I'm gonna take you guys along for the ride, and hopefully we learn something in the process. You're gonna see the troubleshooting process, you're gonna see the frustration, you're gonna see when things don't go right, what do I do? And hopefully this gives a bit of comfort to those who share similar experiences. It's realistic to go into these boxes blind. You're not gonna have information beforehand, like most videos I see out there for CTF walkthroughs, and even mine. I will practice the box beforehand just so I don't make mistakes live on camera. So doing the box beforehand is definitely beneficial for a viewer's perspective, but I think there's also another side to that same coin. I think going into a video not knowing what's to come shows a good deal of how to persevere through a box and strategies to try when you get stuck, and so on and so forth. So this is probably going to be part one of a many part video, probably because it's gonna take a while to do this box. So that is the idea behind this blind walkthrough. I'm walking you through the concepts of what I'm going to do and how I'm going to tackle this box. Whether those concepts and those ideas are right, who knows? But without further ado, our nmap scan is done, and let's hop straight into this. So as you see, this is the IP I got from TryHackMe, and I ran an nmap scan on it using -d4-a and outputting it to an nmap format. And from the box description, we already knew it was Active Directory, but if we didn't, these ports definitely give it away. We have DNS, kerbrute, SMB, LDAP, all that good stuff, and we do not have WinRM. So we will not be able to connect to the machine via evil WinRM. We're going to have to use RDP. So 3389 is RDP, and that is how we're going to have to connect to the machine to grab our flags. Or we may be able to drop a shell on the SMB share. We'll see when we get there, but those are just a few ideas running through my mind at the start. So we have our host name here. So sudo, I don't know what this find thing is, sudo nano etc hosts galley, and I'll add this to TryHackMe ECO1, and I'm also going to add just the domain at the end. But I always do the, I don't even know what the IP is actually. I always do the IP, obviously, for any etc host entry. You have your IP, but then I do the domain controller hostname first. For some reason, it just has given me more success than doing the domain first. And then I should also do just the DCO1 hostname. Realistically, I just saw IPsec do this, and when I started doing it, it helped me go through some issues, and tools started working a little more consistently, and that's why I do it. So we have no credentials here, and there's no like HTTP server up that I can enumerate, so it's going to be straight to SMB for me. So SMB-U-P -share. So we're going to see if we can, one, this is called null authentication, and two, list shares. And it looks like we can't. So we cannot do that with null authentication. What about guest, using the guest user? We authenticate, and maybe we'll get shares. And we do get shares. So we have a few shares here. We have a user's share, we have a backup share, and then we have these three defaults. So we really can't do anything there because we don't have read, right? We have read on IPC, but this usually doesn't really give us anything. We should be able to get a users list. We'll see. but okay, no users list. What if we do RID brute? So RID brute is just another way to get a users list. It's cycling through RID cycles and seeing if it can pull out usernames. And it looks like we can. And we have, wow, we have a lot of usernames. Okay. Let's copy all of these. Wow, this is a lot of users. Oh my goodness, it just keeps going. Holy cow, that is a lot of users. Okay, let's throw this in users.text, and we're gonna have to do some, she's 1,000 lines. We're gonna have to do some voodoo magic here to, I believe, let's see. I actually have a Notion entry to how to deal with this. So I'm gonna open my Notion. I think it's my recipe book there. And I'm going to search for SID type user, because I know that is how I normally do it. Okay, here is an entry. Let's see if this works. So we're going to grep on oh, here it is. Lovely. It autofills. And then let's head new user, see if that works. And it does. So this command, I could not remember it for the life of me. Obviously, I had to pull it up on my Notion. But grepping on SID type user, because those are the users we care about, and our user file, and we're going to cut on the delimiter of this backslash here, and we're going to take the second field, and then we're going to cut again on the space, take the first field, so it's just this now. I'm going to cut on the space, take the first field, and then output that into a new file. So now we have a new user file with 1,069 users. So that is a lot of users, but I think the most, just scrolling through these, I think these users at the bottom are most interesting to me. So the service accounts and this admin here, and then these are a bunch of machine accounts, which is interesting. Yeah, all of these are machine accounts. And then again, all of these just like random user accounts. I think out of all of them, the most important is going to be these at the bottom, these service accounts. But how are we going to get there? I wonder if we can enumerate like LDAP or do an LDAP search. LDAP search, here we go. So let's do, it's obviously an old entry from an old TryHackMe box, but this is going to be this IP, and it's going to be SoupeDecode. I don't even know how to pronounce it. SoupeDecode dot local, and we'll see if this comes back with anything. And it does not look like it does. In order to perform this operation, operations error. Okay, unlucky there. Let's see if we can do it via just guess without a password. And then I'll try LDAP domain dump here. So SoupeDecode dot local, and we're going to log in as the guest user. And see what happens. And I need a host name. So dco1 dot this domain. Password, I'll just press enter. And it needs, okay, it needs a password. How did I have it before? Oh, that. Is it just a colon? I wonder if I can do LDAP domain dump through Kerberos, because I know Kerberos is open, so maybe the guest account can, or maybe I can do dash AT, so authentication type simple. See if that gives us anything. Password is mandatory and stuff. Okay, so it doesn't look like we're gonna get anything here from LDAP. Let's try netexec again, and what happens if we do Kerberos? Let's see if anything changes in either SMB or LDAP. LDAP, it doesn't look like anything changes. We still get this error. We just can't bind to it. And we have the same thing. So I guess we can look at IPC. It could be worth looking at. So we're gonna SMB client into, it's like a very similar situation here. 48, 49, IPC guest. And then I'll just press enter here, ls. And yeah, so there's nothing here in this directory, which makes sense. It was worth checking out just in case there was some hidden file somewhere, but it did not look like it is it's doing anything. So we've checked out the SMB shares. We have a user list. We thinking of what else we can do here. Maybe that user list we can try spraying passwords against, but that could take a while. I'm not sure if that's the right path. Check our nmap scan again, see if anything's here. So we have DNS, Kerberos. These are all SMB. I guess RPC then. 139.445 is SMB. RDP being open is interesting to me because I'm not sure. Usually for these boxes, RDP is not open. So I wonder if there's any additional, I think it has to be something with Kerberos, because I'd be shocked if it wants us to just start spraying this this user list. And I'm gonna tick down the user list. So cat new users. I'll make a new list here. Nano important.txt important users. And I'm just gonna take some of the ones that I think are going to be important. So none of the machine accounts, just those accounts at the bottom. I thought I saw one at the top. No. Okay, so we'll just take those, and I'm okay with spraying these because that's only 5. So we can netexec SMB user important users, and we can try, I guess we can try no password to start. And we'll see that this just sprays across and sees obviously no password. And I wonder if that changes if we do -k. Oops. I'm surprised it still ran with, oh. Huh. Never seen anything that can do this. Very interesting. Ooh, pre-auth failed. That reminds me, we could do asreproasting. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not with guest access, because I think you need to make that bind. Let's try -asreproasting, and then hash.text. Is it just one dash? -h. Let's see what the command is. Oh, it says asreproast. I was thinking of kerberoasting. And it's 2 dashes. Yeah, so it silently fails because we can't actually make that bind with guest. If we try kerbrute, it'll probably be the same thing. Kerbrute, hash.text, DNS server, or I think it's, let's go up here. Kerbrute. Where's kerbrute? I missed it. I think it's KDC host is the other flag I use for kerbrute. KDC host is going to be our IP. And I mean, it surprisingly goes, but yeah, we're going to get this error. We can't successfully bind with our guest account. So before we do kerbrute, before we do asreproasting, we're going to have to find valid credentials. Because yeah, it'll finally fail. And I think if we go verbose, we can see why. But I'm not going to try very hard to do this. So kerbrute is false. Maybe that's a hint to enable kerbrute. Kerbrute is true. No, it'll just silently fail once again, which is expected. So, and just for the fun of it, I'm going to try with the entire host name, because with kerbrute that changes things, though it should have resolved in our Etsy hosts. Yeah, it doesn't change anything, which is completely expected. So what else can we do? We can't do LDAP because of the null authentication, though for some reason, I think I'm remembering that LDAP search has something with null authentication. Let me open my Notion again, do a little search. And I think for another video, I think it'd be cool to go through my Notion and sort of introducing what I use, how I stay organized, and all that good stuff. Because it's pretty in-depth and it's pretty complex. So it could definitely take up a video. LDAP search. All right, let's do this. LDAP search -x-h-s base. Oh, we do get stuff back. Very limited, I'd assume, though. Let's enumerate here. The supported controls. And yeah, as expected, we don't really get that much stuff back. It's just so things we already knew, right? We knew that we know the domain already, we know the host name already. So nothing too exciting here, unfortunately. I wonder what else we can do here. I guess we could try to do kerbrute. We could do, let's see, locate kerbrute. I've used it on both the PNPT and this TryHackMe box. So let's copy kerbrute here and we can run it. And that our domain is going to be SoupeDecode.local. Our DCIP is going to be up here somewhere. This. We're going to password spray, or we don't want a password spray. We want to do something else. What else does it have? We want to brute user. Well, maybe it could be worth doing the doing the password spray. Maybe we can try both. Brute user, and we're going to, what's the arguments here? Password list and username. So our password list, user share word list rockU, and our username is going to be cat important. What do we want to try? we saw that backup service file share, so that could be a good one to start with. And we'll let it rip. And we'll see if it starts going. I'm not entirely sure if it's working or not. I think it is. Maybe I'll just give it a little bit here. Okay, I think I'll give it a little bit here and see if it comes up with any output. I forget if kerbrute actually shows output while it's working or if it waits until the scan is over, but I'll give it a few minutes and then we'll come back when kerbrute shows us something. Alrighty, I'm gonna cut this because I don't think it's actually going to yield us anything. And I forgot, I was looking through my Notion on while that was running, and I forgot an enumeration step that I usually do. So whenever I have a long list of users like this, so word count users, like there's almost 1,100 users here. So what I like to do is on those SMB shares, I like to do, and this was a sort of a new SMB or a new netexec command for me. It's the no brute. So I don't know if I can find it here. Shares, it may be here. I don't know exactly where it is, but it's -- no brute. -- no brute, and we'll see if I think there's a dash here. Oops. I do not provide a, or what we're going to do actually is the idea here is with such a long list of users, and notice how the users were, they had numbers in them, and it was somewhat quote unquote complex when looking at it from a password policy. So, and it's kind of hard to explain that, but like looking at, if we head users.txt, head -20, 30. Like these users, this could be a password. This could be a password. If the password policy is weak enough and it doesn't need a capital letter, then these usernames could actually play as passwords. So when I see a list of usernames that has this kind of stuff, and this is why it got lost in my my notes, it's because I haven't seen this in a while. It's always good to try and test those usernames as the password. So as you can see here in this netexec command, I'm testing the usernames to be the users and the passwords to be the passwords. Oh, I want new users actually. I want new users instead of, if I cat new users or head new users, we'll be able to see it a little better. So yeah, all of these could be passwords, right? Some of them are above 8 characters, and while they don't have any capital letters or special characters, some domain controllers don't have that password policy in place. And if we were able to do the LDAP enumeration that I originally wanted to do, we could actually see the password policy and see if this attack is a valid one to do. But for now, I think this is just a better solution before kerbrute, because kerbrute limits you to one. I guess actually we could use kerbrute for this. I don't know if I've ever done it though. Okay, we're gonna do a little experiment here. So kerbrute, and we're going to do, so the domain is SoupeDecode.local. And let's see the options here, because there's an option, brute force. Yeah, so brute force, which is exactly what I want actually. I want the username, password. Oh wait, hold on. User, Maybe not. Brute force username password combos from a file. That's not exactly what I want, though. I want to spray the user against its own username. Let's see if there's an option for that. Yeah, I don't think there is. Okay, I thought there was, for some reason, I thought there was an option in kerbrute where you could do that without having to set up the without having to set up the file in a certain way, but I guess not. But back to netexec. And then we're also going to continue on success if we get more than one hit. So I think this is the correct syntax. So we should see, yep, administrator, exactly. So this is what the idea is. We're going to just test every single user against their own username as a password. So there's 1,000 of these, so it might be a while, and that's why I looked to kerbrute for this, because it is kind of painstaking having to go through all of these users. So I will cut the video here. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say I can cut the video here and come back and tell you guys if we see anything, but we actually have a match. I was not expecting that to work. Okay, so netexec smb -u. I was really not expecting that to work, but that is really, I'm really glad that it did work, because if that didn't work, I would have been a little out of luck. And let's see what shares ybob has. Oops, I messed up the syntax here. So we can minimize that a little bit. So we do authenticate, which is good, and we have the read on the user share. So that, I think that is a really good stopping point, to be honest, for this part 1 of the video. And I'm looking over and it's been 30 minutes already. So 30 minutes just for that basic foothold. And obviously this could have been different if I tried this strategy first. But this is the realistic thing. Like, I'm going to remember certain things in my notes that I completely forgot about just by going through my normal steps. And doing this is not in my normal steps by any means, because as I said, if it was just like, if the normal users was just like r.whittleton, right? This probably won't be the password, because I think most password policies at this point are going to not allow that to be a password, just because there's no numbers, I think. But looking at it, I guess it could be a password. So maybe I should add this to my everyday AD checklist. Yeah, I've used this technique maybe once or twice before, and I have just like a long list of techniques that I've used, and I was scrolling through that to determine what to do next, because obviously all the other attacks are not working. But I'm glad that we found one user and we have a new avenue. But that is going to be part 1 of SoupeDecode. I don't know if that's how you say it. That's how I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go SoupeDecode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you stay tuned, because there are going to be many more parts based on how that one went. I have no idea what's next in this box, and I'm excited to see what's next. So tune in for the next video where we take on SoupeDecode. We're going to be reading this SMB share and seeing where we can go with it. So I know we're running on the cliffhanger here, but I will see you next video.